everyone, and welcome to our second podcast. Really, the second one should have been about Game of Thrones, but we're gonna catch up this weekend. And of course, once again, we have Chris here. Chris, say hello.
Hello.
Hello. And we are doing something a little different this time because we went to Avengers 2 yesterday.
Age of Ultron, that's right. It was fantastic.
Uh-huh.
I guess.
It was a celebration. Well, we're going to be talking about it, and of course there will probably be some spoilers if you haven't seen the movie yet, but let's face it, it's a Marvel movie, it's nothing you haven't predicted.
And everybody's already seen it, because if the box office ratings are any indication, the whole world went to the movie just when it came out, so...
Oh, well, whatever. Well, let's start with the basics, I guess. Our opinion. Chris, did you like the movie?
Yes, I liked the movie. That's as far as I'm willing to go. Like I described yesterday, it's the perfect 7 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, I'm kindly with Chris on that one. It's a good movie, but let's face it, it's a Marvel movie. You have to judge it as a Marvel movie.
And it's really doesn't do anything different. The thing I liked most about this one is that it was, I would describe it as more self-aware than the last Avengers movie. It seems to have taken a page out of the book of Guardians of the Galaxy, which was my favorite Marvel movie in recent times.
What exactly do you mean that it's a little more self-aware?
Well, I felt like the last Avengers was less, was trying to be a little edgier or a little more realistic. And I don't know, realistic seems like a poor choice of words, but
especially for a Marvel movie.
It seemed so dedicated to being like this grounded story in and of itself, while this was really just playing with the audience with lots of little funny one-liners and quips, and the villain mostly just being... I mean, the villain was a joke this time around, but it was an enjoyable joke.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, last time, of course, for the Avengers, the villain was Loki, and... Yeah, okay, Loki is a better villain, I suppose.
Yeah, but this didn't matter to me because this villain was perfectly aware. You know, he started off as an AI, or he was always
he is an AI.
But he never came across to me like an AI. He most just came across as, let's make a funny sort of quipping, one-liner heavy villain dude.
That's kind of my problem with Ultron. I mean, for those of you, the few people who haven't seen it and who have been living under a rock, the basic point behind Ultron is they retrieve Loki's scepter, and from it they extract the basics of an AI, and like idiots, the Stark and what's-his-face, Banner, they start building the thing.
Yeah, and then it's evil. It turns out to be evil because it's Loki's scepter thing.
Yeah, the moment it actually works, it's basically instantly evil.
And they don't develop the villain in any way. And they don't give him... it's not like an AI coming to terms with being an AI and realize himself. It's like he's there and he's immediately got a personality. And
he immediately realizes he's an AI.
Exactly. And there's no development or progress towards him realizing, based on the information he's gathering and what he's seeing, that he hates the Avengers for whatever reason. I mean, I get what they were trying to do with the Avengers are the reason people have been dying. This has been done in many...
Yeah, it's been done in every single superhero movie ever.
But I mean, I understand the angle there, but they didn't really explore it here because he just woke up and it was like, oh, so my mission is save the world, I'm going to kill the Avengers. And he barely even said why that was. Yeah,
well, one thing, right when Ultron wakes up, one thing I did like is he doesn't have a body yet, he's still an AI, and he's basically researching everything, and he kind of realizes what his mission is, so he's researching that, and he sees, like, terrorist attack, wars, all that shit, and I think he literally says, like, oh my god, it's so much, they can't meme, and at that moment it seems like he's kind of overwhelmed, but then they don't do anything with that.
Oh yeah, that little part where he was actually that was like something they had to explore more for it to be really engaging. But.
Yeah, because if they went with that, basically he sees all the evil in the world, he sees all the wars, all the terrorism, all the murder, everything like that, and he instantly gets basically stressed out and overwhelmed and just freaks out. Okay, at least in that case, I sort of get the process.
Yeah, but it seems like the director was aware of this himself. figured, okay, I don't have the time to do all of this development because people came here for the action, and so I'm going to turn him into, like I said, like a quipping, funny supervillain guy without much of an identity, but someone you can laugh about with because he's a funny villain.
Well, yeah, to be perfectly fair, if they wanted to make Ultron funny, they succeeded, but...
I think they did. It seemed like their intention to me. Maybe it's my fault.
Yeah, he gets a few of the best one-liners in the movie, so...
Yeah, I mean, this movie was all one-liners. Every time they figured, oh crap, we don't actually have a time for much exposition here. Let's just throw in a one-liner that sort of says what we want to say, and then it's also sort of funny.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I said yesterday, if they actually go into the ethics of the whole thing and the debate, and that adds like an hour.
True enough.
So yeah, they kind of go into the debate a little bit, and then somebody throws out a one-liner, and we move on.
Exactly, and that's like perfectly fine for a Marvel movie, but like I said, that's why it's just a Marvel movie. There's nothing specifically worth, discussing here because it's such an obvious principle that we've seen it 1,000 times before, and, it hasn't changed. It doesn't change. There's no reason for it to change. We don't want it to change necessarily, but... No,
I mean, it's a good premise. You can do interesting things with it, but...
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Enough. Entertaining on its at the right time. But,
Yeah, I think the people get it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's look through the arc of it.
Yeah.
Ultron is awakened after they rescue...
Yeah, like I said, they find Loki's scepter, and they find the basics for Ultron in the scepter.
Yeah, exactly, and that's done by Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, who play a semi-big role in this movie with, the one...
Yeah, they were a little weird. If I remember, both of us aren't exactly great with with comics and comic culture and all that. But from what I remember from doing a little research, they are both mutants originally. And I think the movie here presents it as if they got their powers from experiments or something.
Yeah, but that's intentional because they couldn't get the rights for X-Men.
Yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. And by the way, of course, everyone knows Quicksilver already was in Days of Future Past. In that movie, he's more annoying, but they get his power is way more interesting, actually. Or at least the effect is better.
Here he has the one cool scene where he punches Captain America. That's a cool scene.
Yeah, that's it in this movie, basically. In this case, he's just fast, and you have to wonder when he starts punching robots in the face how he isn't breaking his hands.
Yeah, well, like I'm going to care about realism in this sort of movie. Maybe he was just reinforced with the...
Yes, but...
we can't go with adamantium, so they gave him, what was it, verbitrium or something?
Vibranium or something?
Vibranium, yeah, something like that.
The stuff Captain America's shield is made out of.
Yep, well, as far as I'm aware, in the comics, it's adamantium he gets that's used for, obviously, Wolverine's claws. But now they don't have the rights for X-Men, so they can
whatever, in this case, it's vibranium.
Yep.
But let's get back to the basics. Like you said, the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver play a sort of important role.
Yeah, they go from villain to hero pretty quickly. I mean, they quickly realize Ultron is trying to blow up the world, which is not hard to figure out when one of your characters can read people's minds, and Ultron tries to get into a body.
Well, yeah, the thing is, they don't realize it for a while because, well, Ultron isn't human.
Yeah.
So you can't read his mind.
But at some point, Ultron starts to want to build his own body, and people they all want to stop him because if Ultron gets to build his own body, he would probably be more powerful than any Avenger ever.
Well, the thing, it's not so much the body, it's the fact that he's building a body with one of the Infinity Stones in it.
Yes, and, with the vibranium using...
Yeah.
Whatever. He's like building the perfect body with one of those Infinity Stones, and we'll talk more about the Infinity Stones in a second because they were such an...
Yeah, they're basically the Infinity Stones are still the ultimate MacGuffin in the Marvel universe, but...
Exactly. That's basically it. Well, there we go. Covenant topic covered.
Well, it is a little weird that we've now hit Avengers 2, and we are only on 4 of the 6 stones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get the others in soon enough, I think.
Yeah, Ant-Man, maybe?
Well, we have 3 of the stones, right?
No, we're 4 now.
Alright.
At least I saw 4, so I'm guessing we're at 4.
And doesn't Thanos have his own stone? I don't know. I never paid attention.
I have no idea.
It might have. I mean, he seems like the sort of character who would secretly have the 6th one for the next Avengers movie.
It could very well be the case, who knows?
Yep. Ah, who knew? Thanos is being portrayed by Josh Brolin.
Oh.
Just discovered this.
Huh.
It doesn't seem like a good cast for a
well,
villain, but
let's
he
face
has
it.
a physique for it.
Let's face it. You're never gonna realize it because he's basically CGI'd up the ass.
Yeah. Cool actor. I mean.
Anyway, back to the plot here. Because we drifted way off topic.
Yeah. So the plot.
Yeah, they find the scepter. They start building Ultron, and well, it doesn't work at first. So they leave Jarvis, Tony Stark's AI, to run simulations and stuff like that. And meanwhile, they party, and at some point, randomly, it does work, and Ultron activates.
Yeah. They did explain why it worked, right? I thought it was mostly just they went the... did they? Didn't they? I felt like they kind of implied it with the Infinity Stone figuring itself out, because the interface wasn't supposed to work. They mentioned this several times afterwards, that, it shouldn't have...
Well, yeah, they tried, but they kept fucking it up.
Yeah, so I think if you got the director's cut, I think the idea is that it ultimately built itself or something, but I don't know.
I guess.
Speculating too much.
Anyway, Ultron activates, and like we said, he freaks out, and the very first thing he does is basically destroy Jarvis.
Well, yeah.
Well, sort of. And, of course, that completely fucks over the Avengers, because Jarvis controls pretty much everything.
Yep, and this guy just controls even more, because the Ultron project was supposed to be a shield around the world, but that was more metaphorical. It's about this massive, cyber system that kind of fights crime.
Basically, it's just an army of robots that will protect everyone and take over for the Avengers.
Yep, and that's...
Now, that is actually one thing they did handle properly, because way at the beginning of the movie, when they go inside the base where Loki's scepter is held, the twins are there, and the Scarlet Witch kind of goes around fucking with people's minds.
Yeah.
And she does it to Tony Stark when he finds the scepter, and at that moment he sees, like the rest of the Avengers, all his friends dead, and him being the only one left alive.
Yeah.
And basically that completely freaks him out.
And that's what triggers him to build Ultron.
Yeah, that's why he decides to start a program that could basically take over for the Avengers to keep them safe.
Yeah, and that's the first setting up for the Civil War, obviously, because that's when we first kind of see the contrasting philosophies of Captain America and Tony Stark.
Well, yeah, Captain America doesn't really have a philosophy. Captain America.
So, for everybody who doesn't know, the next Captain America movie is going to be Civil War, and it's about Captain America versus Iron Man. We'll cover that more later. But there's this scene in the movie where Iron Man, Tony Stark, says that their mission should be for the Avengers to cease to exist, and safety being realized just in general. And that's what Ultron is supposed to represent, preventing war. And Captain America's philosophy is you shouldn't want to prevent wars. You shouldn't engage in a war that doesn't exist. And I feel like that's what they were trying to set up, like getting this sort of prevention versus reaction clash going between these two characters.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Reaction is fine, but Tony raises the excellent point of the last time we reacted was because we were being invaded by fucking sky aliens, and they kind of kicked our asses.
Yep, and Captain America raises the far less excellent counterpoint of, yes, but we will fight them again if they come again together.
Well, yeah,
we're together and we're all best friends.
It's probably not going to happen again, probably, hopefully. And if it does, we'll just fight them again. Probably. So, yeah, at least fucking Iron Man is doing something.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have this discussion more when the next movie comes out, but that's going to be the big philosophical.
It's the obvious setup for Civil War, but...
Yeah. So that happened. Then we go
Ultron awakens, he attacks them, he gives them a little speech that's not too important, but...
Nobody cares about the speech.
No.
What happens next is they try to figure out where Ultron went or what he's trying to accomplish, and here we got a little plot device that pulls him to South Africa because that's where the vibranium's.
Yeah, by the way, finding Ultron is not that easy, considering he's now the world's most advanced AI, and he's basically all over the net.
Yeah, he's everywhere, but they want to, find him specifically, and they want to stop whatever he's trying to do. And
so destroying his bodies doesn't really help either, because he has spare bodies, and even if he didn't, he can escape through the net.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite scene of the movie, with Black Widow being pushed back by Ultron approaching her, and then you see Ultron being torn apart, and there's a slight moment of relief you can tell from her face. And then it's Ultron again. I was like, such a funny gag. That was a cool scene.
Yeah, he's basically using his more advanced body to tear an older one apart.
Yep. It just kind of shows that he doesn't need his body, and that's a cool part of what it could have been, but I mean, it wasn't very elaborately explored, so it didn't matter.
No, but they didn't really have a lot of... Let's face it, in the first place, if they keep destroying Ultron, the threat he poses is gone. So they didn't have a lot of cause for him to constantly switch bodies.
No, obviously, but it was cool.
Uh-huh.
So they go to South Africa. We have this brief scene with Andy Serkis. It was fun to see in a movie. Finally, not as a mocap actor, but as a real actor. Although I have no idea why he had to be a South African weapons trader and why they couldn't get.
I don't know, but he pulled it off really well.
Yeah, it was cool for he had a few lines, but it was cool and he was a nice little cameo. By the way, this was like the movie of the cameos.
Hell yes.
I mean, we had Idris Elba returning as Heimdall, and we had Peggy Carter returning, and then we had War Machine. And
I don't know. War Machine got a pretty extensive cameo, considering he actually did something, but...
Yeah, War Machine, and to a lesser degree, what was his name? Falcon? The guy...
Who?
The Captain America guy, the Captain America sporting guy.
Oh, yeah, he comes in at the end, I mean...
Yeah, he has less... But he's there also with the I'm gonna lift the thing, right? And that's a little thing.
Where?
But War Machine had the biggest cameo of all of those. We sort of have cameos and we sort of matter scenes. Yeah,
considering the event, War Machine was the only one who could realistically do something, so... Yeah.
Although, I would have liked to see Heimdall. I would have liked to see more of... I get that they didn't go to Thor's homeworld, but I would have liked to see... it felt...
Yeah, it would have slowed things down. It would have slowed things down and been pointless.
Yeah, but in his scene, it had so much of an implication on shit going to hell back home.
Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Alright, well...
let's see, basically, the whole reason we go to, I think, South Africa, right?
Yeah.
Is because, that's where Ultron gets his vibranium, whatever the hell it was. The super metal.
Yeah.
And he uses that and some kind of, what did they call it? The regeneration cradle?
Yeah. That's a good enough name. That's not it. It's close enough.
Something cradle, anyway.
Which is a device designed by Dr. Cho, I think her name was. Wow, that's racist.
Kinda is, but I think it was actually her name.
I know, it was her name, but it was just now thinking of how, wow, really? Anyway, she's designed this device that can reconstruct a human body, just like heal injuries over time by creating artificial tissue. And he wants to use the stone.
Now he wants to use the vibranium and the stone to build a body that's both human and artificial.
The stone the scepter, the stone on the device to give her the intelligence and the machine the ability to actually build a body with the cradle, which isn't technically possible, but it elevates her ability and it elevates the machine and
etc. And then
he goes, "Hey, this is a nice machine," and now it's boom, it's everywhere.
Well, sure, that explanation made no sense, but anyway.
Yeah, it's superpowering. It's what superhero movies do. They overpower the machine. They made a superhero
And
machine.
Of course, Ultron plans to upload his own consciousness into the body. But when he does that, because the body is at least part human, the Scarlet Witch can now read his mind. And she sees that he's been claiming up until now that he plans to, save humanity and help them evolve. When basically he just wants to blow up the world.
Yeah. His his goal is to blow up the world. That's really all it is. It's his idea of the strongest survive, but the strongest survive extinction, basically. I don't know.
Basically, he wants to create an extinction event and see what happens next.
Yeah, basically.
And they realize that, and they kind of go, okay, this was not the plan, and they leave.
Yeah.
Which leads to one of the most unintentionally hilarious moments in the movie.
No?
No, when they leave, Ultron kind of gets up and actually goes, guys, no, wait!
Oh, yeah, true. It's like, no, guys, don't leave me alone. And then actually comes back a couple of times where he's like, I'm all alone now, you guys. Fuck.
Yeah, and then they get the whole chase where they try to get the body away from Ultron because they find him and he tries to protect his body, the Avengers try to steal it, etc.
Yeah, and what happens is they basically trade Black Widow.
Yeah, they get the body, but he grabs Black Widow.
But then again, who cares? It's not like anybody ever dies. So they get the body, take it to Tony Stark's, and Scarlet Witch starts talking to Captain America and goes, wait, you sure you want to take that body to Tony Stark? He's already created Ultron. Who knows what he's going to do? I only saw destruction in his mind. Shit's going to go to hell. You have to stop whatever he's planning. And so they chase after it.
And she's totally right, because Tony Stark's immediate plan is to activate the body.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. It just arrived. Banner basically said with just one sentence, we should probably blow that up now or shut it down. And Tony Stark's like, wait,
hold up.
How about we create another super thing, and then we have the super thing fight the other super thing I created?
How about we do the exact opposite of what makes sense?
Yep, and he convinces Banner in just a spectacularly short time. Who's basically going, oh, well, that makes sense. That's a good idea.
Well, I don't know, let's face it, Banner has no spine, really.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I don't know how he is in the comics and stuff like that, but in the movie, he basically takes the opinion of whoever talked to him last.
Yeah, bends over backwards for everybody. So what they do is they upload the this.
That's something we forgot to mention. Ultron's first plan is to hack into government facilities and get launch codes for nukes. Yeah. But someone is constantly changing the codes, so even when he does get to them, he can't use them.
Yep. Turns out the person who was responsible is Jarvis, who wasn't destroyed but uploaded his own consciousness into the mainframe in Oslo or something.
Something like that.
And then from Oslo, he filtered all of the incoming traffic from Ultron, who was trying to get all those codes, and then blocked them out, so Ultron couldn't ever get those codes. Yeah. Which is still a little ridiculous. You feel like Ultron could have just gone to the nukes, blown shit up, and just taken them, but,
Yeah, that, and you do have to wonder how Jarvis, a basically way inferior AI, managed to, outsmart and elude fucking Ultron, who at this point is everywhere.
Which they didn't explain. What they did explain was, hey, so he can do this. That means he's better than Ultron. Let's put him in this body.
Well, not so much better, but he could probably function in this body. Sort of.
Yeah, but, I think, he didn't literally say it, but Tony said Jarvis was capable of keeping Ultron out, so if he can do that, he can beat Ultron. And then, obviously, they mentioned that they can put him in the body, and that's what they do. They put Jarvis in the body.
And then Captain America and the twins come, and they basically go, what the fuck are you doing?
And that's actually another big scene that is going to be, it's not literally a part of
Civil War, but it's setting up for Civil War.
It's obviously a part of the setup.
Yeah.
So they have this big fight, people are trying to stop people, and ultimately Quicksilver pulls all the plugs, and everybody's like, fuck, now we can't finish the upload.
Because the power is failing and shit like that, and everything's going to hell.
And then someone comes in and goes, hey guys, guess who has electricity? And,
Thor kind of jumps on the thing and shocks it, and somehow that works.
Yeah, it's, realism shouldn't be going on with characters.
Because this is actually where we get into the scene Chris mentioned earlier of Thor's vision. I mean, right after they get their asses kicked by Ultron for, I think, the second time or something, Thor kind of goes, oh no, wait, it's another case where the Scarlet Witch was fucking with people's minds, and she shows Thor something really weird. He winds up basically in, what's his home called?
I also forgot.
Anyway, he winds up in his home, and everyone's partying, and he runs into Heimdall, who is blind.
Asgard, by the way.
Asgard, thank you. Anyway, he runs into Heimdall, who is blind, and he kind of goes, No, I see everything. Thor Odinson, I see you leading us to hell.
Yeah.
And he goes looking for a vision to explain that.
That was a terrible scene. I didn't like the You continue.
You were there?
Yes. I didn't like that scene, that vision. It seemed,
Well, what I didn't get is the first thing Thor does, he goes to collect one of the doctors from Thor.
Yeah, from the Thor movies, that is.
Not his girlfriend, by the way. She doesn't appear, neither does Pepper Potts or anything, but...
No, which basically just means, crap, you guys, Gwyneth Paltrow and Natalie Portman are busy. That's basically what it means.
Kind of, they give them one throwaway line of, they couldn't come, but...
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes to collect the doctor, and basically explains, okay, I need a vision, and the next thing, they are at the Water of Sight or something.
Yeah, some bullshit tool.
Yeah, and the doctor does nothing.
No.
Thor just goes into the water, has a vision, and the doctor, I assume, kind of stands there.
Basically.
I have no idea why he needed to get the guy.
Cameos.
I suppose.
Was this a worthwhile cameo? No, I don't think so, but cameos. That's all I got for you.
Anyway, Thor gets the vision, and in it he sees that, activating the body is the right thing to do.
Yep.
And of course they activate the body, and at first it kind of freaks out, because so would you if you were born into a casket with a big blonde guy standing on top of you.
Yep. But he wakes up, and then he freaks out, flies around, but he beats up someone. Not literally beats up, but he punches someone in the face.
He tosses Thor around a bit, I think.
Thor or Cap, one of the two. He flies over to the window, and he starts looking at the world. He's like, fuck.
Well, no, he basically, at least I imagine from later dialogue, he kind of sees how pretty the city is at night, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Anyway, people come up to him, and they start talking to him, and he's like, who are you, and what do you want, and whose side are you on? He's like, well, I'm not on your side necessarily, but I'm certainly not on Ultron's side, I'm against him.
Well, yeah, what he literally says is, Ultron, I am on the side of life, Ultron is not.
Yeah. Which then turns into him being, well, I'm not actually Jarvis, but I'm sort of Jarvis, and he's played by the actor who plays Jarvis. It's Jarvis.
Yeah.
It's not really Jarvis. What happens next is he basically becomes one of the Avengers. He gets the little Infinity Stone in his hand.
One thing worth mentioning is, of course, they don't trust him, because his basic programming is based on Ultron.
Yeah.
And they kind of go, okay, that's all fine and good, but why should we trust you? And he basically goes, well, I don't know if you ever will, but we have a job to do. And then kind of picks up the hammer, Thor's hammer.
Oh yeah, that was a scene that really made the person behind us laugh. We fucking hated that bitch. Sorry, that was too much.
She was annoying, but
So this was like a big scene, because he was carrying the Infinity Stone, and he was worthy.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing behind Thor's hammer. They actually have... You might have seen the teaser before this, but in the movie they actually have the different characters try to pick up the hammer, and nobody can do it, and of course, when the Vision awakes, he can immediately do it.
Yeah.
Which is really weird when you consider... he even says it himself. He was born yesterday. He is extremely naive. How does that make you suited to ruling Asgard?
How does a hammer decide who's suited to ruling Asgard anyway? It's a hammer, doesn't have a brain.
Well, yeah, but it does somehow.
It doesn't somehow. I don't know what makes him worthy. It just seems to sort of done that.
Well, whatever, fuck it. Basically, the Vision is the anti-Ultron. He is all good, whereas Ultron is all evil.
Yeah.
And they go back to, I think it's the city the twins were born in.
Yeah.
Or at least where they live.
It looks very similar. They quickly realize...
Ultron is doing something there, and basically he has installed all these engines and propulsion systems and I shit you not, lift the entire city.
Lift the entire city and then crash it back into the ground like a meteor and then blowing up the entire world. Blowing up, or just, mimicking the dinosaur extinction story, basically.
Yeah. And, well, I have to say, at this point, the action in those moments is very good.
Yeah, the action is always good, but the action's very exciting.
Because they're trying to find a way to either destroy the city or put it back down without, killing everyone.
Yeah.
And of course, Ultron, meanwhile, is sending like waves upon of his own body at them, and
yeah, that's really cool. There, the one scene in the trailer that's really cool in the movie as well is with all of the Avengers gathered around the drill.
Oh yeah, there is one central thing holding the entire city together, so they're protecting that.
Yeah, and the Avengers going, "Is that all you got?" And him responding with "ha ha 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 ha,"
and basically sending out the Legion.
Just masses of Ultron bots charging them.
Yeah. They kind of go heavy on the slow-mo at that point, but it is really good action.
Yeah, it's quite exciting. Then we get the fight. There's lots and lots.
Oh yeah,
lots of
one important
Avengers rescuing individual civilians.
Yeah, and
so
one important thing, what we mentioned about Ultron basically being everywhere on the web. Either with the Infinity Stone or his programming, that's not entirely clear, but Jarvis can completely burn him out of the web and basically shut him off. Basically just turn the Wi-Fi off.
Yeah. Yeah, he holds his head or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he does, but like I said, he basically turns Ultron's Wi-Fi off, so he can only escape into his own bodies, and at that point they set about destroying every single one of his bodies.
Yeah. That's basically what it is. So it's this big fight against Ultron's bodies, and it's mostly just them blowing up a lot of robots, and a lot of robots coming in, and lots of fighting. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are now officially on the good side, by the way. Quicksilver, well,
yeah, basically Quicksilver runs into things, and they kind of break apart.
Yeah,
somehow he survives that.
Oh well, so he fights, and Scarlet Witch is initially kind of struggling with coming to terms with being a hero or whatever. She seems to be kind of...
Well, no, I mean, they're basically teenagers. It's not that weird that she's freaked out.
She's not just freaked out, and then Hawkeye, who has was a pretty big role in this movie, actually.
Yeah,
probably
weirdly.
The last one, and I liked it, because, Jeremy Renner's fantastic. And he talks to her, and he goes, well, you either stay in here and cower, and, we'll keep you safe, and we'll come and, figure it out. Or you can come out, but if you come out, you're an Avenger and you've got to fight. And eventually she comes out and she starts killing robots.
Yeah, one thing I did like is his line at that moment. So yeah, we're fighting robots, the city is flying, and I've got a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
Oh yeah, that's cool. And that's one of those, self-aware moments.
Yeah, at least he acknowledges that the bow and arrow is stupid.
Yep. Oh, they do go boom. He blows up a couple of cool things.
Yeah, that's the thing. He somehow pierces these robots like all the way through the skull.
Yeah. He's badass in this movie, and he deserved it because in the original Avengers, his role was kind of I'm a slave for most of this.
Yeah, I guess. Well, even here, his role basically starts with him getting shot.
Yeah, but that doesn't last long. He's
basically fine like 10 minutes later, but...
Yeah, I was kind of worried that he would be out of the large part of the movie.
Well, I was actually kind of convinced they were going to kill him, because they introduced the fact that he has children, that he has a family, and...
Yeah, it would have been very obvious. His return very much felt like the sort of thing that could have also just as easily been his death.
Like, yeah, because they literally say his wife literally says to him at some point, when I look at these gods, these amazing men, and he goes, you think they don't need me? No, I think they do, and that's the scary thing.
Yep. And it's a nice little touching scene, and there's a lot of...
And she has a point.
True enough, she does have a point, yeah. So, yeah, the big fight. Ultimately, Ultron dies.
Well,
but,
ultimately, Ultron... Ultron steals their jet for some reason.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that happen. They don't want to blow up Iron Man ultimately figures out a way to blow up the meteor before it can hit Earth, so there's no real risk. But everybody has to be off the meteor, otherwise, there's going to be a lot of civilian casualties. And there's another bit of friction there where Iron Man is mostly going, if we can blow up this rock, then we can save a lot of people, and I don't want to risk not saving a lot of people, so let's just blow this motherfucker up. And he's like, no, we have to rescue everyone. And it almost escalates.
Yeah, not even Black Widow at some point turns to Cap and goes, and then he says, we have to keep these people safe, and she kind of goes, these people, as opposed to all the ones down there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big thing going on at that moment, and it almost escalates before Nick Fury shows up in this.
Because, of course, Nick Fury shows up.
Yep, and this big, another cool cameo, I suppose. Who's not really a cameo,
I don't know, it's Samuel L. Jackson.
He's in the movie.
Yeah.
He shows up in one of those big birds, one of the big planes.
And they kind of start evacuating people.
Yeah.
And of course, Ultron, being a dick, starts attacking civilians.
Yeah.
And at that point, Hawkeye basically goes to save some kid who got trapped or something. And Quicksilver sees that the jet is approaching, and Ultron tries to shoot him. And Quicksilver moves Hawkeye out of the way and gets shot to hell doing it.
That's basically what it comes down to, yes. So that's our death.
I was actually kind of surprised he died in this movie, considering it's also the movie that introduced him.
Yep. I mean, I can't imagine anyone was feeling emotional because of his death, but anyway, they wanted to kill someone.
I don't know,
obligatory, sort of, but not really important death.
Well, I don't know. What they did right was they really wanted to portray the twins as, extremely close. Again, we're not sure how that is in the comics, but at least in the movie, they portray them as being extremely close and totally tied together. And you do kind of feel her pain at losing him.
Yeah, well, that's a big part of it. That's also where it almost goes wrong, because she starts to
Yeah,
fight
she is the last person protecting the drill that holds it all together.
Yeah, and she starts... So, I'm forgetting something here, but she leaves the drill.
Yeah, when her brother dies, she feels that, and then she basically hunts down one of the last Ultron bodies and rips his core out.
Yeah, but it's not the last Ultron body, because there's another one crawling his way to the drill and going boop, and then he triggers it. So at that point, things start going into super speed, and
the whole thing plunges downwards.
Yeah, the thing starts plunging downward, and Iron Man has to blow it up right at that second. So they rescue the last couple of people. There's this little scene where Hulk and Black Widow, which we'll have to cover in a second as well, have their little scene, and they get out, everybody gets out, and the thing is blown to shit. That's fantastic, and everybody's safe, and then, credit and all that.
And nothing of value was lost.
Yep. Except for Quicksilver, I guess.
Yeah. Like I said, sucks for Scarlet Witch, but other than that, not a lot of reason to care.
No one in the audience seemed to care, except for maybe the bitch behind us.
Although I do appreciate, cheesy as it was, one of the very first things Quicksilver says is he punches out Hawkeye and goes, "Oh, you didn't see that coming?" And then at the end of the movie, when he's pushed Hawkeye to the side, Hawkeye kind of looks over and sees him, and it's very clear that the kid is gonna die. And Quicksilver just goes, "Didn't see that coming," and falls over.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool.
Cheesy as it was, that is how it should have been done.
The whole movie was cheesy, so.
Well, yeah, it's a Marvel movie.
Exactly, we've been there. Covered that. It's a Marvel movie. Guys, if you didn't realize this, it's a Marvel movie. Yeah. Ultron's last body is found by the Vision after the conflict, and they have a little talk about the existentialism of the movie, which isn't really a big deal. And Ultron.
And once again, Ultron makes the very fair point of the Vision being extremely naive.
Yeah, and then the Vision makes that joke you mentioned earlier, where he says, "Well, I was born yesterday," and he then proceeds to laser our beloved little Ultron dude to shit, and Ultron is dead.
Well, maybe, because they don't show it. They show the flash of the laser, but...
I think we can presume he's dead, right?
Well, yeah, but right after he's activated, one of the first things the Vision says is that he doesn't want to destroy Ultron, because Ultron is unique, but because Ultron is evil, he has to be destroyed.
Yeah, so I think he's dead.
Yeah, he probably is dead, but I can also see them going with Vision basically letting him go. I don't want to. I've only just been born. I don't want to destroy something as unique as this.
Maybe we'll find out in the next Avengers. Although I wouldn't really be a fan of him returning.
No, I think his storyline is over. But
yeah, that was his. Well, he was the villain of this movie, and now he was gone. It's the movie.
Yeah, one thing you did mention is the Hulk and the Black Widow.
Yeah.
Or
so
more directly, Bruce Banner and the Black Widow, but...
Well, also the Hulk and Black Widow, because she's the only one who can calm him down, apparently, so that's a big deal.
At least she's the one who does it, but...
Yeah, but we're giving the indication that no one else is quite as good at it, or no one else...
Something like that. Apparently, the Hulk is very easily distracted by nice tits.
Aren't we all?
But, yeah, and that's the thing. Every time the Hulk kind of, Hulk's out, they send the Black Widow, when it's all over, they send the Black Widow to kind of calm him down.
Yeah.
And they have kind of they are basically the romantic plotline of the movie.
Yep, which I don't remember from the first movie, but whatever.
Well, I mostly thought it was weird, considering in Captain America 2, she spends the majority of her time hitting on Cap.
That's true, too.
And, again, they kind of give that a throwaway line going, yeah, Natasha likes to flirt. At which point I'm going, that wasn't flirting, you were 2 seconds away from fucking in that movie.
Yep, but Cap's mostly going, yeah, I know what flirting is. She was just flirting with me. Maybe he doesn't really get what flirting is.
Well, to be fair, he is left from like 75 years ago, so...
Yep. And he has to miss Peggy, and Peggy was hot, so...
But one really weird thing I didn't get, basically we get a little bit of Black Widow's backstory, about how they trained her to be an assassin, and it's all left very vague, which is probably a good thing. But she does explain that one of the things they did as a graduation ceremony is
that was so ridiculous.
They sterilized her, which I guess makes sense, because, no children, nothing to worry about there.
That made sense. What didn't make sense was going, hey, I'm a sterile woman, you're a monster, we're all monsters, because,
Yeah, no, she literally says, I'm sterile, who's the monster now?
Yep, that's literally what she says. I'm a sterile woman, I am a monster, nobody likes me, I'm the worst.
Look, we should probably explain, we're not trying to demean, the issue and the heartache of a woman who wants a child and can't have one. But being sterile does not make you a monster.
No. I couldn't even get to that moment. So, where are you getting this? Are you, what?
Maybe it's something that went just completely over our heads, but I don't get it.
No. I don't get it either. But I guess they were trying to force their relationship by giving them something relatable, and they couldn't actually turn Black Widow into She-Hulk.
Yeah, and Bruce Banner, on the other hand, makes the far better point of, I am the Hulk. If I step on a thumbtack, I might go crazy and accidentally murder you.
Yep.
And that is at the very end. Like I said, at some point, Ultron tries to steal their jet, and the Hulk kind of leaps to it and basically tosses his ass out.
Uh-huh.
And when the jet is apparently on autopilot because it keeps flying, and instead of returning to Black Widow, he just kind of turns the comms off and lets it go. Mm-hmm. Because it has some kind of stealth technology and they can't track it.
Because it's the Stark thing.
Yeah. So, and he's basically trying to give her a future without being with him, so... Which, I don't know, I guess that was handled well enough, but...
Yeah, that was fine, So, there's a little sound later when, a little scene later when Nick Fury goes, well, he'll send a postcard indicating, of course, the Hulk is going to be back, don't worry, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, they're not doing away with any of the cast.
No. So, that was the last scene of Black Widow, and we have a nice little scene of Captain America and Iron Man talking about
which I still think is a little.
Which is the only scene in the movie where we're left going, wait, are we gonna get Civil War at all? Because they really seem about to just make out.
Yeah, it's a little weird because they do part on basically really good terms.
Yeah, that you sort of expect them to make out, like I said. But yeah, they have this little, well, we're friends, and if something bad happens, we'll face it together, and it's cool.
And yeah, Tony Stark goes, maybe it's best if I step back a bit for a while, and yeah, okay, that's cute, but we all know he's going to be back for the next Avengers movie.
Yeah, but he jokes about settling in the country with Pepper. It's cute, I suppose. So we have that scene. Tony Stark rides off, Captain America walks away, and they're all friends.
And then we get the basically orgasmic explosion of cameos.
Oh yeah. Well, we already had that, right? We already had.
Well, yeah, but in this one they just throw in everyone they hadn't had yet.
Yeah, so we get this scene where Captain America takes a look at the new Avengers, who are probably going to be the members of his team in the Civil War, where it's War Machine, and was War Machine even there?
No, War Machine wasn't there.
No, which makes, I thought it wouldn't make sense.
Well, if I remember correctly, from what little I researched about Civil War, Iron Man is basically on the government side at that point, so I'm guessing it makes more sense for him to team up with War Machine. But...
Yeah, although that wouldn't really explain why Falcon dude, or whatever his name was there.
Yeah, but Falcon is, I think, either he quits or he's retired or whatever, but...
Yeah. Anyway, he introduced this team of cameos who were going to be the next Avengers, and Iron Man was waiting.
And as you probably guessed by now, Falcon's in it, but...
Yeah, I can hardly recall who else was. Scarlet Witch was in it, who looked like a good... she got a good guy makeover, and good guy makeovers never work.
Yeah,
so much worse.
Was it me, or was she suddenly blonde?
Yep, they made her blonde, because now she wasn't evil anymore, but basically the gist we got out of that.
Unless it wasn't the Scarlet Witch, and we're just totally confused, but...
No, it was. It was definitely Scarlet Witch.
Huh. And I literally cannot remember who else was there.
No, me neither. That's a little bad, but it was cameos, you guys.
Yeah.
These were characters from other Marvel movies, and they were coming together. Guardians of the Galaxy cameos or anything like that, but just cameos.
Well, no, but that would be really hard to tie together.
Yeah. Some people were expecting and hoping for, and I suppose many of us were, that there'd be a little Spider-Man cameo. That didn't happen.
Oh yeah, for that matter, we heard there is a final after the credits scene that has to do with Spider-Man. We didn't get it, so we don't know what it's about.
Maybe it's in Sweden, right?
Who knows?
But anyway, we didn't see it. Our little post-credit scene was of Thanos, the villain
equipping some kind of
the
glove.
First Avengers, and who was the boss of the villain in Guardians of the Galaxy until they had their little falling out. He basically goes, well, I'll just have to do this myself then.
Which probably means we won't actually see him for like 4 more movies.
Yeah, the way it's been going, probably.
But anyway, he put some kind of golden glove on. I'm sure that makes sense to anyone who knows the first thing about Thanos.
Yep. I suppose comic book lovers got a real kick out of that, maybe.
Yeah, that's basically the tagline of every after the credits scene from Marvel. Comic book lovers probably get this.
Yep, and we're basically going, oh, well, the shawarma scene was cool. We didn't get another shawarma scene this time around.
No. I was actually kind of disappointed. I was expecting a Burger King scene or something.
Yeah, this is something funny. So yeah, that was basically it. Credits rolled out, we walked out. That's the movie.
Yep.
Alright, everyone. We hope you enjoyed our second podcast. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. We've also got links to our blog in the video, and I'll see you next time.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.